Right, listening to some of the questions that were being asked, I might be able to put my view on some of those. So anyway, let's see where we go. Okay, a little bit of information about me first. I've been a technical writer for well over 25 years now. Worked across quite a wide range of different industries, finally deciding that software was a good place to be. Actually, today is my 15th anniversary working for the company that I joined 15 years ago, who have changed names multiple times. Currently are Intel Security. You probably know them best as McAfee, and as of next year they're going to be McAfee again because Intel are selling us off. Anyway, so that's quite an interesting little aside. And I think it's about 4.5 years now I've been working within Agile development teams. I must say, the documentation that I or the tech writers produce is customer facing. It is product documentation for customers to use. We don't get involved in APIs, which I think has its benefits. But anyway, so that's sort of the focus that I'm coming from. I'm currently writing for 5 different Agile project teams. On top of that, I also have this sort of wonderful tongue-in-cheek job title at the moment as lead solutions writer. If I find out what that really means, I'll let you know. Basically, as a company direction, we've decided that having multiple products that all work independently is actually very confusing for customers. So we're going to have multiple products that all work together, hopefully. Anyway, so just a few things from you. There's a few faces around the room that I recognise, which means that they may well have seen a previous version of this presentation that I did a couple of years ago. So, is everybody working in some way or other with Agile teams these days? Because when I first presented this, yes, all done. Okay, that's fine. How this presentation came about, I was at TC UK conference in about 2013, presenting on something totally different. And most of the conversations went along the lines of, oh, what's all this Agile stuff? Oh, no, that'll never work from a writer's viewpoint. And I'm standing there thinking, I'm doing it. Seems to work reasonably well for me. It might not be perfect. Oh, no, it wouldn't possibly work in my team, etc., etc. So I thought, okay, I've got something for my presentation next year. So, and this is basically just an iteration further on from that with a bit more experience. So, yeah. People working across multiple teams. Yep, that's more common now. So Agile, I think we all know now. This was more important 2 years ago when everybody was saying, I don't know what Agile is, and there's no way it would work. One thing I would like to point out, this is the same information that you saw earlier on, just slightly differently formatted. This, I find to be the most awkward statement in the whole thing of Agile. Everybody assumes that means, oh, we don't need tech writers because we're going to have something that works rather than have documentation. My take on this is project documentation, not customer documentation. The customers still need to know how to use the thing. If you can get better UIs, usability design, great. It makes our life easier. That's why one of the things I tend to do is try and help my UX experience, user experience designers with their battles against development, because typically their stuff's a lot easier to document than the developers' mangled ideas of how they're going to go. So, I mentioned I'm currently working in 5 different teams. Just to make life slightly more complex, they are geographically distributed. Normally my screen has and 6 or 7 clocks on it, because the UK is neatly in the middle. But I work with teams from India, Tel Aviv, Germany, the UK, Ireland, East, Mid and West USA. Some of those are a little complex when you've got very little overlap between your team. Sometimes you have to sort of put your foot down and say, sorry guys, I'm not getting up at 5 AM just to go on a call with you. Or, no, I really, I was in the office at 8 this morning, I don't want to be still in the office at 10 o'clock tonight so I can go on a call with the guys over on the west coast of the US. So, they will run Agile vaguely similarly, but subtly differently. I have one team that do a continuous planning process. So basically they have their sprint and they have 5 stories or whatever it is that they're working on. And when they finish one, they'll plan the next story and get that ready to bring in. Which is a bit strange, but we still have the retrospectives, etc., along that team as we do with all the others. Makes things slightly strange. The one thing that I've found over the last 1.5 years, as a writer, the closer you can get to your teams, the easier it's going to make your own life. If you try and be a standoff, well, you guys can work in Agile and I'll just carry on doing what I'm doing, you'll have even more problems than you would have had back in Waterfall or whatever. So, with a few exceptions, I work in sprint with my teams. I find sometimes, it was mentioned earlier on, that I will create a documentation only story. I've been quite fortunate in as much as that I'm working on some new products. So, right from some blank sheets of paper a year ago, what are we going to do? What's the product going to do? Kind of new products, which is great because it means I can start from scratch rather than having legacy documentation to update. I've also been involved in components that are used within other products. McAfee Intel Security, up until fairly recently, had, I think it was 130 something different products on the market. Many of them doing very similar things, but for specific circumstances. None of them followed kind of common workflows. They all did things their own way. Their screens all looked different, which meant everything had to be documented differently. So somebody, wasn't me, but came up with a great idea. It was like, well, why don't we have, lots of these products all create a policy or have a way for the administrator, system admin to create a policy. So why don't we just have one way of doing that multiple products can use, and we'll just change kind of the values displayed to them depending on what that product is, what their focus is. So that's great. I've now got the opportunity to create reusable components of documentation that other writers can then just take, and instead of them spending 4 or 5 months, they can just go, right, next. It's working quite well. As I said, working closely within your teams, I think is a big plus point here. When we first started using Agile, there was discussions about, and this answers one of the questions from earlier on about, should we have our sprints be 1 week or 2 weeks or whatever? Within our environment, and I don't know what it is, but each team very rapidly got to the point where they said, actually, we can't achieve enough in a 2-week sprint. So I would say coincidentally, but most of the teams have 3-week sprints. That gives enough time to actually work through the docs, through the products, features. I guess one of the areas I'm quite lucky in is that my teams share the stories between what I call back end and customer facing. So it's unusual that I have all 5 teams that are solidly working on stories that are all customer facing. If they did, it gives me a problem because I can't keep up with them. Usually I have to come up with creative solutions around this. Can I farm something else to another writer? I'm quite lucky we have a team of it's somewhere around about 50, 55 writers, editors, etc. globally. So quite often, at the moment, I have one of the writers in India that's working with a local team to produce a document that I need, but I just can't do at the moment. There was a question earlier about editing. Working very closely with the teams and wherever possible having tasks within their stories rather than my own stories means that the whole team is as committed to getting the docs right as I am, because if I don't get the docs right, they can't close the story. So use that to your advantage, guys. So what I have a sort of a rule that anything I write, whether it's just they've tweaked to, sometimes we'll get a silly story that is, a change to the UI, wording or something, and I need to update a couple of screenshots. It might be a brand new feature that is quite involved, or it could be a group of features or something. So complexity changes. Every person has to, every story has to have at least 2 reviews within the team. The way we're working at the moment, we're not following continuous integration. So it does mean that we will have a number of sprints and then we will roll them up to a release. The process of that roll up is where I have the opportunity to go for a wider whole document review. So rather than just this topic has got these 5 changes on it and this is a new topic to go with it, that's reviewed at sprint level, it will be, this is the current document, user guide, product guide, installation guide, whatever it might be, online help. Can the team, and at that point, I need sign off, at least from, I would say probably development and QA kind of lead roles, product owner, product manager. At that point, once I've got their views, then it goes through our defined editing cycle. And when it comes out of the editing cycle, it then goes into the localization cycle. So they're not waterfall, they're not quite agile, but because of the release cadence we have, we can follow through with the editing cycle there. So I don't know if that's useful. Yeah, that's okay, no worries. What else do I do? I've been in the lucky situation that pretty much all of my teams, well, in fact, 3 of the teams that I work with in India, at the beginning of last year was one team split equally between my local office and India, and because of our workload, good to hear that they've been recruiting more and more developers and engineers on those teams. So I've got a little rule in place that if any of my teams have a new member join them, one of the first things they get to do is review the whole doc set up to that point. But I find this is really useful from a couple of viewpoints. One, it gives me somebody that's never seen these documents before the chance to give me feedback on them. The problem is when you're working sprint by sprint, people get a bit word blind because they've seen the same thing the last sprint and then you've just added a little bit to it. So they tend to stop seeing what you've actually changed. But anyway, so you get brand new review from it, and the team actually quite like it because it actually forms part of the onboarding process. Hopefully my docs are good enough that they get a reasonable understanding of what the product does. which helps get them up to speed quicker as well. So it's a win-win from both circumstances. What works less well? Time zones are a big pain. I have tried the working a sprint behind process. I find that's a real pain personally. The advantage of Agile is if you're working in sprint with your engineers, they have a vested interest in helping you. If you wait until they finish their stuff and are now trying to think about something else and you go pestering them, you're now being a pain in the proverbial, and they'll just say something to get you out of the way as quickly as possible. So what doesn't work is trying to work a sprint behind. Occasionally, from a customer view, especially on a new product, if you've been documenting feature by feature by feature, you can get to the end of it with each feature documented beautifully, but it's not a coherent user guide. So that's where I will create, along the process, I'll create a tech hubs only story, as we tend to call them, which is about taking all these individual pieces of documentation and actually making them hang together. So that sort of works, but it's a little bit of a workaround. So just in conclusion, is Agile a perfect solution? No, I don't think there is such a beast, but it certainly has a lot of advantages and can be made perfectly usable. Seeing as earlier on this morning, right at the beginning, there was a little bit of a recruitment campaign, just out of interest. We are recruiting at the moment. We're looking for another writer in Aylesbury, so if anybody likes the idea of moving to sunny Aylesbury, look on the Intel Jobs UK board. I think it should have gone, the advert should have gone up there. So we're looking for another writer to join the team. There's currently 2 of us in the Aylesbury office working on different product lines, but we need some more. So, yeah, so questions?
It's been a long time since I've used McAfee, so I can't remember I don't know how it works, but if you're 3-week sprint, what's your release cycle, or is it rolling release? And so how does that match up?
It depends is probably the answer. As I mentioned, up until fairly recently we had 130 odd different products. Some of those are consumer-based, so the kind of stuff that you and I would have on our home machines. The area I work in is very much enterprise and upwards, so the sort of enterprise level systems that you've got sysadmins, etc., whose job is just to look after our software, to look after the wider networks or whatever. Sorry, lost my train of thought there. So, just reiterate a bit of the question I might not have covered yet.
It changes regularly. You don't have
right, release cadences.
Like
so
2016 or something.
Yeah, the kind of products that I'm working on, increasingly they're moving to be cloud delivered, which does increase our delivery cadence quite horribly. That is a whole different set of problems that I'm just starting to get to grips with. We used to be on the sort of kind of annual update with probably quarterly patches, fixes kind of cadence, which is within Agile, it's very easy to do. Moving to we're still a way off of continuous delivery as such, but moving towards that, we're getting to monthly or 2 monthly releases, but this is a fairly new thing, so it's sort of working at the moment, but we've not been doing it long enough to know whether we could improve how we're doing it. No, as a company, our customer docs are all produced in Ditter, which gives us the ability to basically choose an XML editor and a underlying CMS to meet our needs. We currently are using we're using XMetal and what used to be TriSoft, STL TriSoft, but it's now STL. They've changed its name, Content Something Architect, as the underlying database. But it's in a format that, if we really wanted, we could just, it's XML. We can export it and use Oxygen or some other database system. So.
You mentioned working sprint behind being kind of awkward. So currently, where I work, we're working sort of half a sprint behind, and it's sending, a bit of both in a way. Do you find it difficult if you're working in the sprint with developers, essentially having to document stuff that hasn't actually been quite implemented yet? So, for example, we take a lot of screenshots of stuff once it's finished to help with.
That is an issue. I'm quite lucky in as much as the product lines I work on, we do have UX designers, and they are tasked ahead of the sprint in finalising the designs. So quite often I will be working from the design rather than from the finished software. But I do tend to, all my draft docs will have, screenshot will be updated. And I wait until I can actually see, and that is something that often falls into the sort of 3-monthly or 2-monthly or whatever release kind of update part, which is one of the things I do to make sure that my screenshots are current. It's getting better most of the time now. You can't tell the difference between the design. Initially, there were a few issues with underlying sort of Java frameworks not actually allowing identical, but I think they've probably got over most of those now. So, okay.
Just a question about what you thought about the overhead of working in an agile environment. What I mean is, I've got a team of writers, and they don't work on one product, but the product is carved up into microsystems. So the development teams have stand-ups, sprint retrospectives, sprint planning meetings.
Yeah.
And we do our best to attend as many of these as we can, but sometimes it feels like we're creating less and attending a lot more meetings.
Yeah, I have to admit, I think I fully agree with you on that one. One of the big disadvantages of Agile is the number of meetings it generates. Hopefully, those meetings are shorter. One thing I didn't mention earlier on, that sometimes I'm in the lucky position I am currently at the moment. One of my teams are doing a lot of work on back-end integration between different systems, totally transparent to the customer. The customer just knows it works. Once it gets working, they will just know it works. There's nothing they need to do. They don't have to configure anything. They don't even have to install anything. It just works. So with all of my sprint teams, I sort of reserve the right to step out of participation in that team if there's nothing of use. I'm not going to. That's another hour and a quarter a week minimum. That would be yet another meeting. So. Meetings are a little bit of a problem. Something that did work quite well with a previous team that I worked for that I'm no longer working with, for their story demos, they actually lead with the documentation. So you'll get all of the sort of interested parties in a room or on teleconferences or whatever, and it's down to the tech writer to say, okay, today we're going to be talking about story XYZ, this new feature brings in da 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 da, and we use the documentation to actually explain from the customer's perspective what that feature does. Then the developers can come on and say how clever they were with all their little bits of code, managing to do different things and talk to different subsystems and all that kind of stuff. That's something I found quite useful. Again, earlier on we had a comment about adding additional value to, not just being those tech writers that sit in the corner and nobody hears from. It's something else that adds value. So, yes, meetings are a pain. You have to be a bit sensible. If you don't need to attend them, don't attend them. Sometimes I will sort of reserve the right to say, okay, I'll come in and present my part of it, and then if nobody else has any questions, you know where I am. Come and get me if you need something else. Okay.
Seems to have quite a lot of control over the product process. So you mentioned getting developers or new developers to review the docs from start to finish as soon as they start to use.
Yep.
And you mentioned getting 2 people in the team to review any significant change.
Yep.
Just wondering how you get that buy-in from the product manager.
How have I achieved that? Working very closely with Scrum Master and Mistress. For some reason, all of my teams have Scrum Mistress rather than Scrum Master. It sounds a bit strange, but yeah. So basically, it's working with the team members, being happy to stand up and say, look, I need this, I can't do my part without it. Getting the buy-in for having new team members to actually review the existing docs was actually quite an easy sell, because I sold that mainly on it will help get them up to speed with the product quicker, rather than and it'll give me some good feedback. That was sort of I almost sold that as an additional benefit rather than the main one, which I think just helped focus the minds a little bit. And I guess, again, like most things comes into this, as I said, my teams in India started off half in India, half in the UK, and a small team, and I put a lot of those things in place. And then as that team has expanded and been split into 2 teams and then expanded more and reorganised into 3 teams, it meant they already had some of those processes in place, and they just carried on with them because they didn't know any different. So, often luck is a useful ally. So, okay. Any other questions, or shall I say?
Do you find that you have to deal with wastage when the developer completely changes direction, say after 4 sprints, we'll have to dump all that? Do you find that you ever get that scenario where it's, damn it, I've been being in sprint has been a curse in this respect because I've got to make stuff that's not relevant?
Not to the extent that you've said. There have been relatively minor, I think I mentioned in one of the other answers, had a few occasions where the user experience design couldn't actually be implemented because of issues with the underlying sort of Java frameworks. So they've had to make some changes to those. So there have been a few things where I can't recall anything where I would say I actually had to throw stuff away. There's stuff I had to go back and rework due to changes a little further down the line. But luckily, I think in the main they've been fairly sort of relatively insignificant or not that frequent. So both like this one. So.
Is it enough good supporting the sort of setting the process for the developers that they're actually just going to carry through with what they're planning?
This is, I guess, the plus side to all the extra meetings you have to attend. The daily stand-ups are probably the most important one, as long as they are well run. I've had experience of some stand-ups that go on for 3 quarters to an hour, and at the end of the day, it's not really, they haven't achieved any of what I've achieved, what I'm planning on achieving, and what's stopping me achieving anything. But if they are well run, that last one, what is stopping me achieving, usually if there's some underlying framework issue or something that's causing problems, it's reported pretty early and the whole team are aware of it at that stage. So that's quite useful. Okay. Any other questions? So if not, I'll hand over to whoever's